Welcome to Trekommendations, the only show that helps you navigate your way into finding some of the best gems in the world of Star Trek. Of course, I cannot do this alone, and each week I am joined by a wonderful guest. And today we have from Treknopod, it is Jimmy Shoffman, aka Captain Shoff.
Hey
Welcome.
there. Thank you so much for having me. I really am excited to be a part of Trekommendations today. Thank you so much.
Yeah. What I love is that you've got your own podcast, and I can tell because you've just got this lovely kind of approach to the microphone and this beautiful, like, tremor in your voice of kind of, oh, it sounds lovely. This
Thank you.
episode will be a delight to the ears of listeners, I hope, unless I
and
let
and
it all
all
down.
the fancy equipment to go along with it to make sure everything sounds
Yes.
legit. So the newest
Yeah.
addition was a camera to get like higher quality video. My podcast co-host Vactor has always been on me. He's like, you gotta have better resolution, man. So
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah. You can't talk about all these futuristic shows and technologies and then
Right.
not have a good camera, right? Like,
Exactly.
you're laying them all down. Well, just in case people haven't listened to your show and they don't know your tastes in Trek, of course, we always start with some calibration questions.
Sure.
So I have a few for you. We'll start with a nice, easy one, he says. So the first question is, do you have a favorite Star Trek film?
Ooh, okay. Star Trek film. So I would say my favorite is probably First Contact, but it's very close between First Contact and Wrath of Khan, and I think that's probably a lot of people's favorites. But for me, First Contact is probably my favorite because the date of First Contact happens to be my birthday. And so like in the theater when I saw it for the first time and they were like gearing up and like saying what the First Contact date was, I was so overjoyed that like it was my birthday. I just had like this personal now attachment to the most pivotal day in all of Star Trek history. So I would say First Contact for sure. And
Okay.
TNG was my crew growing up, so that's probably where I'm leaning. Yeah.
So it's kind of like you feel, I must have been destined to do a Star Trek podcast at some point
That's
because look
right.
at me, yeah. Well, I'm with you in that I was born in '87, so the year that
Okay.
TNG launched. So that's sort of how it's easy for me to remember how long that franchise has been running, or that
Right. Yeah.
particular show. I'm like, oh yeah, just how old am I? Okay, that's how long.
Yeah.
Really good. Okay, here's another question for you then. I'm interested to hear your take on this one. Who do you think is the most underrated character?
Across any series, any movie?
Yeah, I'll let you have any series or movie.
Okay.
Maybe not books at this point, because otherwise I feel
Yeah, right. That
cheat.
opens up a
That's cheating at that
whole
point.
nother can. Underrated character. I would probably say Phlox. Phlox from Enterprise.
Yeah,
He's such an enjoyable character. He presents such a beautiful standpoint on diversity and the embracing of diversity. And I think like he exists on the Enterprise show to really help the other characters recognize the importance of their mission and help them along their way. And like I just think without him on the show, I don't think it would be anywhere near as enjoyable. I think he absolutely is the glue of the crew. Oh, I rhymed there. I didn't even mean to, but yeah, he's definitely probably my most underrated, I would say.
yeah. He also has like a great reason for being there. Like it makes sense that you're going
Yes,
out, you're going to encounter new species, but new for you, not necessarily new for him. Like there's this idea that, yeah, maybe get someone who's been around more than just the Earth, and he might be able to help you out.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
okay, I think that's a really good choice. I like it.
Thank you.
Final question. Here you
Okay.
go. This is the big one. If
Oh
you
boy.
could pitch, don't worry. I always like to say to people with the calibration questions, there's no wrong answers. There's no wrong answers. It's your personal opinion, so there's no wrong
Okay.
answer.
Cool.
If you could pitch any Star Trek show, what would that show be?
It's funny you mentioned this. So I was having a conversation. This was way like probably like very early into my friendship with Linda Pages, who is a wonderful Star Trek content creator as well as one of our co-hosts on Treknopod. But
And
she
previous
would,
guest of this show as
yeah,
well. So
previous guest. That's right. And we were talking, and I think one of the prompts that she had asked about was, or you know what, I think it was, I was like, hey, this is really great content. I think you should do it. You should pose it to all of your followers. What's a show that doesn't exist that should exist in the Star Trek universe? So very similar to your question. And I was like, I'll start. Here's my idea. We need Starfleet Medical. We need it like an ER based show, but in Starfleet. And then we can really explore like that dynamic of things. We could get the EMH back, which obviously we're going to have him back for Starfleet Academy, which is fantastic, but we could get the emergency medical hologram back for that show. You could bring in hologram versions of, say, Crusher, or Julian Bashir, or any of the, or Phlox for that. And then you have some really interesting dynamics of medical dramas. Plus, like Grey's Anatomy is on what, a season 56 or something like that. Like clearly this is a genre of television that people enjoy. And the medical drama really could lend itself well to adding alien physiology into the mix. Like I think that would be just so fun. And Star Trek is all about teching the tech. So the idea of like solving medical situations on an alien would just add to the possibilities of storylines. And then of course there's usually romance involved on medical dramas. So I think like that's a show that we haven't seen, that I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen. That would be a lot of fun and would see another department and another facet of Starfleet.
yeah, because we've seen like the medical ships. Like, I
Yeah.
was thinking the one was kind of like, instead of a saucer, it's like a big ball on the end, right? And we're like, we've seen that. What are
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
doing? Like,
Right.
what are these do?
Yeah, that's true.
Or
That's
even
such a
just
weird looking ship. Yeah, the science vessels. Yeah, for absolutely. There could be like planet wide viruses, or who knows what. I mean, like the possibilities are really endless, and I think that would be such a fun thing to explore. And it would be a show that really could stand like a longer season count too, which is one of my major gripes about New Trek, is just that the episode, the 10 episode format, and only doing like up to 5 seasons. It's just not enough. It's not enough Trek. And I think like a medical drama lends itself well to more episodes, longer seasons. Yeah.
yeah. I was trying to look something up and I can't find it, but I remember, for me to give a recommendation to people now, this is crazy, but there is a podcast, like an audio drama, and I want to say it was called like Hengler or something like that, but it was basically House, but in Star Trek. And he was like a Tellarite doctor, and he
Oh,
just
wow.
behaved like Doctor House the whole time, but it was all set in the
Yeah.
world of Star Trek, and then just these kind of crazy things. But it was like maybe 8 episodes, but it was a real kind of fun, quirky thing to hear, and just the way someone has kind of
Yeah.
mashed these two properties together.
And
So
I think choosing a Tellurite is a perfect idea, because talk
exactly,
about like
he's
a grumpy, alien species that's going to always have like just something kind of slightly nasty undercutting to say while still being, proficient and knowledgeable. They're
yeah.
just kind of rude.
Yeah, which is another great like element to your show that you're pitching, right? Because you've got like the bedside manner kind of and conflict between, well, look, I'm a Klingon, and this is how we this is how
Right.
we deal with the sick. You get them well enough to go back into battle, and that's absolutely fine. And then
Yeah.
you've got, another species. No, no, no. We've got to make sure there's not even a scar, that they look pristine, like they're fresh out the womb
Yeah.
again. That's how we send them out. You're like, wow,
Hmm.
this is so.
Or
Yeah,
or even like like for just normal people like us, like in hospitals they have to worry about people's religious affiliations and how that might impact the level of care that they receive. Same thing could be applied to the cultural dynamic of an alien species. Maybe they have unique requests and requirements, and what they will and will not allow done to themselves in the name of medical science. And I think
yeah,
that's a cool thing to explore, because Star Trek in itself has always been an anecdote for what's going on right now. So I think like
yeah.
that would be fantastic.
Okay, excellent. So we'll cut that as a clip. We'll send it off to Paramount, Skydance, and all of the rest. We'll see what happens, and
So I will get a
we'll.
paycheck from
I was
Paramount
going
for
to say,
this.
and we'll sit back and wait for the checks to come in. That's wonderful. Okay, I'm just gonna add something to our screen. Don't panic, but it is a clock.
Oh, here we go.
So let me just check that that's working. Oh, there we are. Okay. So, Captain Shoff, so happy to have you here, and I'm looking forward to going in deep on your recommendation. But before we
Perfect.
can do that, we need to hear what it is and why you've brought it to the show, and of course, in under 60 seconds.
Ooh, okay. All right. So my recommendation this week is rebrickable.com for Star Trek Lego builds. Specifically, these are custom builds made by creators, all across the globe. And it is basically like a database of instructions. And this particular website is fantastic because you can go in, you can put in the name of the starship you want to build. And Lego has yet to really make a starship. They are about to come out with one on Black Friday, which is rumored and tentatively supposed to be the Enterprise D. But for all the other starships, you're going to want to go to Rebrickable, get the instructions. There's tons of great creators. Skyfox 2K is one of them. Creation Caravan is another one. Hyphen Cubed is another one. We're running out of time, but anyways, I've built a few. They're up here. They're fantastic, and I cannot recommend enough. Star Trek and Lego. It's the perfect mix. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I'm going to say just.
Just made it. I just made it.
Just made it. But well done. I mean, I think you're the first to include multiple shout outs to specific people within your recommendation. So
I
that's
tried. I
good.
got to make
Good.
the most of those 60 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. You've realized that I clip the 60 seconds and that's a reel. So you're like, I've got to make
right.
sure.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't give you
It's the
much
most
wiggle.
taggable reel we can have. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
totally.
This is great. And I already had a thought about this idea when you said Lego, and I was like, that when you said kind of they haven't made Star Trek Lego, and I was like, well, that was the big thing, wasn't it, on the anniversary on Star Trek Day, was like,
Yeah.
oh, Lego. But you're absolutely right that it's not like it's going to come out and suddenly you're like, let me go and find my favorite ship in the millions of ships they've decided to release
Right.
in Lego form. It's going to be like, again, we'll start with this one. Maybe there'll be some. I think I've been in a few little groups of chatting with people, and there's like the concern about, is it only going to be like this one massive ship that I can't afford to buy or justify the
Start
expense?
saving now. Yeah, start saving.
Yeah. So so I guess let's take it back a second. So
yeah,
you've got some on the shelf there. I'm guessing you're a Lego fan in general.
huge fan. Yeah, since I was a kid, totally.
So how did you come across like these designs, and were you already somebody going on the site and then you were like, oh, I wonder if they've got Star Trek, or did you seek out the Star Trek content?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say since I was a kid, I've always been into Lego, and as a kid especially, I think your imagination runs wild, and when a set doesn't exist, that doesn't stop you from building it. But I think as you grow up a little bit, at least for myself, I've gotten away from just building for the sake of building. I've always only built sets that exist in the real world, and I've kind of like been feeling like there's way more than enough Star Wars sets out there, and it just a true abundance. I mean, granted, the Star Wars license saved Lego from going bankrupt. And we can thank Star Wars, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan too, by the way. So as far as like switching aisles, it's all good. Fandoms, we can coexist. It's just fine. But what I will say is that there's a severe lack of Star Trek ships. And as a kid, I would still build the Enterprise. And I remember going down the stairs with my Enterprise D that I had built myself and tripping and slamming the set down on the ground. And it shattered into a million pieces. And I was so distraught that I did not build it again, because I was like, there's no way it's going to look the same. It's not going to be the same. So just knowing that there could be a set out there with instructions that someone had taken the time to put together. And then not only that, but Rebrickable also helps you with finding the pieces too, which is another dynamic which can be really challenging. Is how do you source all of these really unique
Mm.
parts and pieces and colors, some of which are very rare and hard to find. Some pieces and styles are very difficult to come across. And Rebrickable makes it a whole lot easier because it connects to a bunch of different online sellers and helps put together carts for you so that you can compile all your pieces, which is great. The downside is it can get pretty pricey pretty quickly. So that's why I don't have too many because I'm a single dad. I have 2 girls and tuition is expensive. So there's only so much I can do. But I absolutely love it. I absolutely adore it. And I'm looking forward to the Enterprise D official set coming out because
Yeah.
one other thing I will say is Rebrickable has creators on there that take existing sets so that you don't have to buy any additional pieces. You just buy this set and then you can build something else with it. And that's what this is. So right here, this is the Enterprise. Oops, let me point better. This is the Enterprise A in Lego form, but it's actually a Millennium Falcon set, which is so funny. So I took a Star Wars set and made it a Star Trek set. And I believe that once we get all these pieces for the Enterprise D set, I think you're going to see an abundance of instructions out there on Rebrickable of people making other starships in the Star Trek universe, because now they'll have the pieces to help make that possible. And so I think we're going to see some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it's that Enterprise A that has been catching my eye every time I look at your screen. So that's just one Millennium Falcon set then?
Yeah, you just have to buy one Millennium Falcon set, and then I think the set was maybe like $60-$70 retail.
Yeah.
And then there are instructions. This particular creator was I have it pulled up here on my computer. It is his name is Creation Caravan. And he does all sorts of builds that involve taking existing sets and making them something else. I also have another one, which was also another Millennium Falcon set that I made into the Enterprise D. So this is like another thing where it's just like a tiny little set, but it still becomes the D. I call it the mini D or the D Junior. And then we have the NX-01, which is from Enterprise, and Voyager behind me as well. So, and then I don't know if you can see that, but that's Star Fox, still in the Star category,
Yeah.
but not Star Trek.
Yeah, I think I said on the last episode, it's all space, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. You can just tell I'm a
space.
sci-fi fan, from start to finish. I love it all.
Yeah. And I was saying to you before we hit record that the problem with this show, the thing that has backfired for me with this show is it's great to help other people find things they would like in the Star Trek universe. So specific books or things like that. The problem is recently I've bought a couple of the Trekommendations that have been given to me because they pitch them so well. And the longer I talk to you and the more I stare at that Enterprise A, the more likely I am to go and try and find this Millennium Falcon set. Like I was concerned when they released that Lego is fine. Star Trek is finally coming to Lego, because I'm like, my kids love Lego,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh no, I've been trying to get them into Star Trek for years now, and it hasn't worked. And is this going to be the thing that does it? And I'm finally going, okay, right, we're going to start spending more money on Lego, so at least it's Star Trek. Yeah, I don't know. So we will see. That is pending, but I'm so scared to see the parts.
I think it's going to be a major success, and I also think it's going to be the beginning of another licensed franchise for Lego. I don't think it's a one and done. I think they're going to see an overwhelming response, and this is just the beginning of and the tip of the iceberg, which I am so thrilled for. Because, yeah, I'm at the point where like I create like a Lego budget. It's part of like my overall budgeting is to have like a Lego budget. So that's how big into the fandom I am. So I'm very much looking forward to this set. I will be sure to be building it when it comes out, and I would say if you want to get into it, start with that where is it? This way. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Enterprise A, because in terms of cost, its cost is down compared to some of the other sets, which are a lot more because you're having to compile from a lot of places. There's a lot of shipping costs and things like that.
Yeah.
But like start with that, and uh, honestly, it was a fun build. It does require a little bit of super glue. It's not the most secure in places, but it's still swishable once you super glue
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah, once you see it. And that way, if you drop it down the stairs, it doesn't smash
Yeah,
into a million pieces,
exactly.
and
I've
you don't
learned
say,
my
I'm never putting
lesson.
it together again. I do remember being, we went to Lego World with the kids, and they have, apart from the rides and things like that, they have just a Lego room where you can just kind of sit there and build. And of course, I built the Enterprise. That was like the only, but I
Yes.
mean, it didn't look like that. Let me assure you, it was sort of like, here's a flat square piece that's sort of like a saucer. It was very, very basic, but
Oh yeah, totally.
naturally we just do that, right? And I think yes, you've got. I mean, I'm remembering like when I had Lego early on, and it was just here's some bricks and build what you want kind of thing. And then I remember like we built a dinosaur, and that had like a plastic dinosaur head and kind of plastic dinosaur like hands. Um, and that was sort of the first time that I'd seen Lego where they'd included like kind of really specific non-Lego-y pieces, but like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's true.
here is a piece of
Hmm.
Lego and that.
Wasn't
Um,
brick built.
but
Yeah.
no, but everything else was just standard Lego bricks and just how you had to kind of put them together in a certain way so that it would look dinosaur-like. And then, I get kits for my son now, and it's just like there's all these pieces. I'm like, what is this? This is this piece serves one purpose and one purpose only, and it's for this thing. So
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. They've come such a long way, and it's only made for the accuracy of the sets to look so much more like what they're intended to
yeah,
look like. Like you look at the evolution of the Millennium Falcon over the years from its first iteration in a set, and now you see it now for like the $800 version that's thousands and thousands of pieces. And oh my gosh, that's my holy grail set. I'll probably never own it because it's just too expensive. But it's just seeing how accurate it is. It just makes me want to put it up on the wall or something. So
mm. So I think most, I would say most of us are aware that they're, again, it's a really weird time because it's finally coming. But for a long, long time, there's been no Star Trek Lego, right? That's been a big thing. So when people have seen your Lego kits or your models that are like on the shelf behind you, do they ask about that? They say, "Well, hold on a second, like, where did you get that?
yeah.
Because it
So there's
doesn't
two.
exist."
Yeah, you're right. There's two camps. So a lot of people are very, very curious. By the way, I apologize. It's been cloudy all day, and now suddenly the sun is out, and so like it's coming through my blinds, and it's really, really bright.
Yeah,
But I apologize with
like
that.
a
But anyways,
Cardassian interrogation going
yeah, I
on.
know it's like there are four lights. But I will say there's two camps related to your question. So on one side, there's those that are aware of, I believe it's a UK company called Blue Bricks, and they were making Star Trek ships, and they have a series of them, but I've never ordered them. Actually, I want to say there might be a German company now that I think about it. But anyways, um, the pieces themselves are not authentic Lego, and
Yeah.
when they connect, they're just not solid connection points because Lego has a patented technology when it comes to all of that,
Mm.
and therefore it's just not a very solid build. So with that in regard, I would say I've avoided that. With that in mind, the other group I would say is legitimately curious and wants to know about Rebrickable. And it's funny. No matter how many times I put it into the caption on say TikTok, still plenty of questions. No one checks the captions, but I'm always happy to point people in the direction of it because these creators do get a portion of proceeds because they put their instructions up there, and you're basically
Right.
paying them for the instructions. So you're getting to recognize them for their art and
Yeah.
also get something in the process too. So it's great. It's pretty great.
Is there like a standard, I'm thinking when I buy a Lego set, kind of the little booklet and the very standard sort of step-by-step procedure to build. with Rebrickable, are all the instructions sort of, do they follow the same formula, or are they a little bit, because they are these kind of
Yeah. So
homemade versions, it takes a
such a
little
great
bit more
question.
deciphering?
Yeah, such a great question. It's a lot like Lego instructions. It's built very much the same, so it looks like a Lego instruction booklet. It's all PDF, and even all the pieces are up in the corner that tell you like what you need for this page. But the downside is that most of the time you are working with a much larger, basically like a bowl or a Ziploc bag full of pieces. Whereas
Right.
when you buy like a Lego set, they have them split into bags. Like,
Yeah.
you could have bag 1 through bag 20. And because of that, you're working with a smaller selection. So you have less to sort of hunt and pick through. Whereas when you're doing it on Rebrickable, all of the pieces are in one big bag essentially. And therefore it takes a little bit longer to put things together because you're spending forever going hunting through to try and find that one tiny little 1x1 stud. So, but all in all, yeah, it's still very much just like if you were building a Lego set for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, that's part of the game, right? Looking for the
Right.
pieces,
Yeah.
not finding that one piece, getting extremely frustrated because it must be here. Then you find it is on the floor. Someone did knock it off, or
Now,
my
when you're
daughter did pick
building,
it up and walk off with it.
when you're building a Lego set, do you pull out the pieces first and then build once you've got all the pieces out that are on that page? Or do you build as you go and just find the pieces as you go?
Well, what usually happens is we get the Lego sets, and then it's like, okay, we'll do this together. Yeah, yeah, great, no problem. And then I'll say, I'll just go and do this first, and then when I'm done, we'll come down and do the Lego set. And then impatience gets the better of. So my son goes and does it by himself now. He'll go and build his. It's
Right.
more when I think we made like a parrot recently,
Oh,
like
okay.
one of the Lego creators thing with my daughter, and she'll start. She'll get out, she'll start, she'll get frustrated, and then
Yeah.
I'll come down and try and, depending on what's happened, have to kind of backtrack and work my way that way. So that's usually the process.
That sounds about right.
My brother, who doesn't have children and therefore has so much Lego,
Yeah, disposable income. It's one thing.
and he's got a big Millennium Falcon, I think. A pretty big one. He's got I think he's got the Batmobile. I think he's got like the 89 Batmobile, but also maybe the Tumbler as well. Like
I had the 89 Batmobile too.
He's got too much Lego. We've got almost, we what he doesn't have is a massive box of just Lego.
Right.
That's what we've got.
Okay.
we've got a couple of those big boxes where people can just rummage around and make whatever they want. He doesn't have that. He has got a lot of sets. He's got the DeLorean. He's got it's all kind of. I think the difference is that's his.
Yeah.
Like that's his geek. He loves that kind of stuff, and it's all in Lego form. Whereas I'm across too many things, and I've got too many stupid things. I can't also spend money on Lego. So and I do podcasts. That's my in.
Yeah,
I get to live through other people's Lego.
Well, this particular, your Trekommendations account is such a great way to sort of be exposed to all of that too, and sort of see what everyone's niches are, and pick and choose. Like, oh, do I want to dabble in that now or this? Yeah,
yeah, and that is the problem. That is the problem.
I'm sure.
Because even like if it's a book, it's only costing me, like what, 10 to 15, I'll go dollars for you, max, kind of,
right,
in that case. And if it's a Lego set, it's costing me
I'm your most expensive guest yet.
Absolutely, yeah, I think you are. Yeah. Ellie probably comes in a close second with the clothing brand, but
sure.
Yeah. So, but I think congratulations.
Thank you.
On that. Yeah. So we were asking if people, have you had, because obviously you put them up on TikTok then, and that's where.
Oh my gosh, the response has been so big on that. Yeah, people are loving it. And I think part of the reason why I think they really enjoy the stuff on TikTok when I post Star Trek Lego content is because I'm singing throughout it. I'm making up my own lyrics, but to the tune of, say, the Enterprise theme or the Voyager
Mm.
theme. When the Enterprise D does come out, I will absolutely do something to the TNG theme.
Yeah.
And I think people are like, "Wow, this I never thought this would come across my For You page, but I'm glad it's here."
What is the uh like the intersection of the fandom, like with Lego and Star Trek? So seeing as you do get a lot of responses, is it mostly like big Star Trek fans are like amazed that they can make something out of Lego now, or is it Lego fans are like, oh, that's great because there isn't. I think I guess if you're a big Lego fan and you like collecting lots of different, someone like my brother who's got all this different stuff,
Sure.
he's not a massive, yeah, he's not really into Star Trek at all. Actually, I think kind of
Yeah,
he's
nobody's perfect.
much more. I know, yeah, well, clearly not. Um, considering like how much my mum is into Star Trek, he is not. But you know,
Oh,
we forgive him
yeah.
sometimes. Uh, but I still think he's someone who would, if presented with a Star Trek Lego set, would be more than happy to be like, that's something I don't have. It's something, it's within the kind of the fandom space
Totally.
connected to the other things I like Star Wars, like Back to the Future, stuff like that. But I'm curious if it's more Lego fans that are like, oh, we love Lego, we love Lego, we love Lego. Oh, Star Trek Lego, that's interesting. Or is it all these Star Trek fans that have been starved of having Lego that are now happy to kind of see access to it?
That's a good question. I would say probably mostly starving Star Trek fans that have just been anxiously awaiting some form of Lego content. And you know, I never thought we'd see this day. I mean, we're almost into November, so you would have thought by now we would have seen leaked images of the set, but we
Mm.
really haven't. And trust me, I've been looking.
Yeah.
So, but I will say, like, it's so close yet so far, and I'm just so thrilled for when it's going to be out, because it is going to change the game. And I think that there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to be so thrilled to finally have something that they've been missing their whole lives. I mean, we've been fans since we were kids, and say TNG, as we said, came out in
Mhm.
'87. I was born in '83, so for me that was my Trek show. My uncle introduced me to it. My first Star Trek movie I saw was Undiscovered Country, in
Right.
theaters, and then proceeded to watch a lot of the TOS ones at home, um,
Mm.
with my uncle, and it just kind of grew from there. And I've been a Trekkie ever since. So, I mean, we're talking, how many years? What, 30 plus years, 40 plus years?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely jonesing for this, and I'm just one of many in that regard.
Yeah. But the difference is now you've got money that you can spend. Whereas if it had come out when you were, you've got your parents' money maybe, and you can beg
Right,
them for a
right.
Lego set. But it's, I'm really curious to know, because I think with like a lot of the Star Wars Lego, we've talked about how much Star Wars Lego there is. Obviously, things
Yeah.
like the Millennium Falcon, like the Death Star, stuff like that. That is old Star Wars fans that they want that because that's their Star Wars. But there's
Right.
also a lot of Lego sets from the prequels and the sequels, and it's not, that's the younger generation's Star Wars. So that is the mum, dad, buy me this
Hmm.
Lego sets, and I'm curious to see when the Star Trek stuff comes out, because I feel that will cater more to people that are, didn't get to have it when they were young
True.
and are now trying to get it. And so, who wins out? Is it the kids that can get their parents to buy stuff, or is it the grown-ups that are like, well, we've got our own money and we can choose to spend it on
Yeah.
Lego if we want?
That's true. And I think Star Wars caters to a younger audience more so than Star Trek does. I know that they're trying to, like, Star Trek Scouts. I think that's the newest thing
Yeah.
that's coming out. And I think I had my daughters watch. There were like a few like 4-minute shorts related to that.
Mhm.
It was okay. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be the perfect gateway to to making them lifelong Trekkies, but I'll do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. That I mean, this is a whole nother conversation, but the Star Trek Scouts thing, I've now seen so many of that show, like the Scouts, the Spidey and his amazing friends.
Right.
There's a new one that makes no sense. I just saw it pop up the other day. It's Iron Man, but so it's like it's Iron Man, it's someone else, but then it's the Hulk, but actually he's like also in an
Yeah,
Iron Man suit, and I'm like, what's going? This isn't even. It doesn't even make sense anymore.
it's true. Yeah, yeah, because it's Amadeus Cho is in that Iron Hulk suit,
Right.
and it's like, no, he becomes the Hulk. He does not become
Yeah.
Iron Hulk. He becomes the Hulk. So yeah, I'm with you.
Here's the thing. I didn't even know it was Amadeus Cho. I saw just the trailer of them just saying the three characters, and I said to my wife, like, why have they done that? And I said, I mean, unless they've done it as Amadeus Cho, but then that's so.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that at least satisfies the genius technical intellect, right? He's the
Yes,
scientist. But yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
but
So
still,
yeah, yeah. Our
yeah, yeah,
fandoms are, they span,
yeah,
many different facets.
yes. But I just, yeah, yeah. I think my kids have now, they're too old for that. That would have been great just just a couple of years ago. That's all I needed. Um, the only thing I've managed to get them to watch recently was I was watching season 2 of Prodigy.
Oh yeah.
And I was watching it in the evening, and they kind of realized I wouldn't send them to bed if they came down at. I was like, okay, interesting, interesting. But I kept telling them, you need to go back and watch season 1 to understand any of this, and they've not done that. They've not done that.
Mm.
So, but
Prodigy's interesting.
one day,
Yeah, I really enjoyed Prodigy, especially season 2. I think season 2 really like understood what it was. It had a very focused energy about it, and the pacing was great. Season 1 felt like it was kind of like it struggled at times. But also, I think the major criticism I have of Prodigy is that it doesn't really know what its audience is. It doesn't really know if it wants to be a kid's show. It doesn't really know if it wants to be for adults or, just Trek enthusiasts, right? Who are adults. I think some of the themes are a little dark. And so like my kids are much younger than yours. So I've kept them away from Prodigy, but definitely for like an older kid, I think it makes perfect sense. And honestly, it can be a great introduction to what Starfleet means because these kids are acting just like in the show can be just like us watching, not knowing and learning for the first time. Hey, that's what Starfleet's like. That's what their mission is. So they're peaceful explorers. Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah. So like, it can be a great gateway, but I think it doesn't really know what it wants to be yet. So I'm bummed it didn't get a season 3. I think it had good feet, good legs. It could have gone on a lot longer. And I would have been there for it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you on all of that. I actually have some of my own hot takes on the animated Star Trek franchises, but unfortunately, this is not the show for that. So you have to find me somewhere else to talk about that. I have a final question for you on your Rebrickable, and well, it's twofold because unfortunately we've slid over too much onto talking about the sets that are actually coming out. But my two questions will be, so let's quickly do the Star Trek official Lego. I think we all know it's going to be the Enterprise D. That's pretty much that's a 99% sure thing at this point. What would you want to be the next set?
Next set, I would say probably either the Voyager. I'd love to see Voyager and as an official Lego. I have it, but I'd rather have the official Lego version. Or I would rather see an alien species, probably Romulan Warbird from TNG. Because first of all, I mean,
I think best looking ship.
It is the best. It is such a gorgeous, unique ship. I mean, it may not be practical in its design, but man, is it cool. And the color scheme is so dynamic, like the greens and the yellows, and like it would allow for a color palette that you don't normally see on Star Trek, like Lego sets, which is predominantly light gray. So overwhelmingly light gray. So with that in mind, I would probably want to see that, or maybe a Klingon bird of prey, to have some variety. Plus, then you've got the aspect of, if you are not just displaying them and you want to swoosh and play with them and have, some kind of space dogfights, then you're going to need a bad guy to face off against the Enterprise. So why not have that?
Okay, I would love it to be the Romulan warbird. I feel it's much more likely that it will be the bird of prey. It just always seems to be that way. Unless they decide like the minifigs are easier to make Romulans than Klingons. Maybe that could be
That's true.
the swing
Yeah.
vote for you. But my other question, more on your specific recommendation, you'd mentioned your Lego budget before and things like that.
Yeah.
Are there some projects that you are, you've got your eye on now? The next builds, the ones that you want, and if so, can you share some of those with us?
Yeah, totally. I would say anything from Skyfox 2K. He is one of the creators on Rebrickable, and he's got some truly incredible stuff out there. I think he is one of the most talented Lego creators that I've ever come across. And I think like currently on my radar of sets I would like to build from him would be the Defiant from Deep Space Nine. The Enterprise E, which I love the look of the Sovereign class ship. And then also, which I think is super fun, is the Star Trek. He's got a Star Trek advent calendar. So he's got a bunch of tiny ships that he's built, and one for all 24 days leading up to Christmas. And so you can build one a day and count down to Christmas in a really fun Star Trek way.
So expensive.
It does, and I'm scared to even like go down that road, but I really want to do it because I'm a big advent calendar guy. I have typically I'll do a Lego advent calendar, and they have a various versions of the Lego advent, but Christmas time and Star Trek for me has always been a big thing anyways, because I have a Star Trek Christmas tree that has just all the Hallmark ships since they first came out in 1991. So I have every single ship as part of a tradition. So like Star Trek and Christmas for me is like they go hand in hand. And the idea of doing a Star Trek advent just sounds so fun.
Okay, right. Well, congratulations. Enjoy poverty.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying I have the money for it, but I'm saying I if I can make it, if I can swing it, I'll swing it. Ramen for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think when Chris Garris from the Transporter Room was on, we were talking about like Star Trek debt. And I think we've understood where yours will come from. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. I've also enjoyed the chat. We've gone on some tangents, which is unusual for this show. I tried to be more behaved than that, but you got me talking, and then you see you're a good podcast host. This is the problem. I'll have to remember that. I've enjoyed it. I am scared that I'm going to start probably looking up that website as soon as we get off this call. But anyway,
I recommend
that's
it.
The point, right? That's the point of the show, isn't it?
That's right.
That's the whole point. Of course, as much as I'm sure we've all enjoyed your Trekommendation, I do always like to give the opportunity for the guest to ask for their own Trekommendation. So is there any area of the Star Trek franchise that you have not explored? It will surprise me, but are there any areas you've not explored that you would appreciate a Trekommendation about from our lovely listeners?
Good question. Gosh. I would probably say, man, you got me stumped. You know what? So I'm going to my first Star Trek convention next year and Star Trek Las Vegas. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about it. But I've never got right. I've never done any cosplay before for Star Trek. And so I guess for a Trekommendation, I would want to know like, where's the best place to go for cosplay content for Star Trek, like uniforms and things like that.
Yeah, I am also in the process of trying to design and do my own like cosplay for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Of actually, so I've got my little Terran Empire badge there.
Oh wait, let me guess this. I think I remember you said you were going to be the Terran, the Mirror of Universe version of Riker. Is that right?
Yeah, but more or less, yeah, just the TNG one. Let's say I've got a beard. Maybe it'll be Riker. Okay. But yeah, the TNG Mirrorverse, which we didn't see outside of the comics. I actually picked up the second book of the
I have that. I have that up
of the
here.
Mirrorverse
Yeah,
one.
I have that
So
exact one.
and my initial plan was to try and get like a sort of already made uniform and take the sleeves off and stuff like that. But none of them actually fit the style of this
Oh.
universe because the colors are flipped and all of that. So I've ordered some stuff to actually then create it myself.
Mm.
I cannot sew. I've never done anything like this. This is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
But so if people do have recommendations for good cosplay accounts and those that can also help us out, yes.
Please,
Once you've
please.
sent them to Captain Shoff, send them over to me as well. I appreciate
And who should I cosplay as? I don't know. Somebody who's got a gray beard, because this isn't going anywhere.
that. I'm with you on that. I'm like, oh, I could be this person as long as I don't have to shave. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. You take me long enough to grow it. Right. Well, thank you so much. Of course, if people have enjoyed listening to you and they want to hear more from you, where is the best place for them to find you?
Thank you for asking. So our podcast is called Treknopod, and we are on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, and really anywhere you get your podcast. If you prefer to, let's say, listen in the car on a commute versus watching on YouTube, we always prefer the video version of our podcast because it's a lot of fun. Sometimes we'll share pictures on the screen and stuff, and you get to see our pretty faces, and that's most important. But but we have a lot of fun. We meet weekly. The show has taken a lot of different formats over the years, but right now we are doing an Enterprise rewatch. And so if you are into Enterprise, or maybe you've never watched it and always wanted to, we highly recommend you give our show a shot, and you can just watch weekly with us and then tune in for the recap as we discuss what we just saw. So we're on episode, I think, 12 of the first season. So we're not too far into the first season. So still plenty of time to jump on board and have fun. And I'm also on TikTok through Treknopod, and we're having a blast on there too. I will say we are on Instagram, but we're not very active on there. So if you go on there and it's like, oh, he hasn't posted in like a year or something, don't be afraid. We're still very, very active. Just being single, I'm a single dad. My co-host is another single dad, and our co-host Linda Paige is in college, and she's super busy. So like, there's just not a lot of time sometimes to post on everything.
Yeah.
So we've focused our efforts on TikTok and YouTube, but we would love for you to come listen to us.
Yeah, excellent. Well, now you know where to find them. Of course, this show as well is on both YouTube and as an audio podcast, wherever you get those, Spotify and Audible and every other place as well. So if you can leave a review if you are listening to it as an audio podcast, because that is something that can help to bump the show up. Do the same
Definitely.
for Treknopod as well. But likewise, if you come over to the YouTube this time, you will have actually seen the Lego models held up and displayed and in the background. So, there's benefits to both, but also I'd prefer you listen to the audio one while driving and not try and watch it on YouTube. That would be
Yes, that's right.
my
Safety
preference,
first.
just for safety. Exactly. Well, once again, thank you so much to Captain Shoff. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. I will be back next week with another new guest and a new Trekommendation.